All right, let's get into it. We're going to explore one of the most critical and honestly, one of the most overlooked jobs in all of aviation. This is inspired by a piece from Rob Kennedy's awesome series that shines a light on the unsung heroes who keep us flying. Today, we're talking about the people who are literally the first and last to touch the plane on the ground, the keepers of Jet A, the aircraft fueling agents. I mean, really think about it. You see the pilots, you see the flight attendants, but their whole journey, everything they're about to do, it can't even start without this one critical step. So where does all that power to cross oceans and continents, where does it actually come from? We're talking about the fueling agent. These are the folks who are the first and last hands on that aircraft, working in just about every kind of weather you can imagine at all hours of the day and night. Their whole job is to make sure every single flight has exactly what it needs with absolute precision for the journey ahead. They are the definition of essential and almost totally invisible. Okay, so to really understand what this job is all about today, we got to take a quick look back at how it started. And trust me, it's a wild ride from simple manual labor to the super high-tech, high-stakes profession it is now. Now, you might be tempted to think this is just like pumping gas into your car, but nope, not even close. A fueling agent is a highly trained pro juggling safety, crazy precision, and some seriously complex logistics. The bottom line is simple, but the stakes are huge. Get the right amount of the right fuel into the right tank every single time. There is absolutely zero room for error. You know, the way this job has evolved is just incredible. I mean, we're talking about going from pilots literally hand-pumping gas into these rickety early airplanes to the jet age with these massive underground hydrant systems feeding the first 707s. And today, it's a whole different ballgame. It's a world of digital orders and precision fueling that's measured down to the very last kilogram. All right, so let's head out onto the tarmac. This is where all that training, all that knowledge gets put to the test. We're talking about the super meticulous, incredibly high-pressure process of fueling a modern jet. The thing that really jumps out at you is the sheer number of checks. It's a constant checklist. First, they get a digital order with the exact fuel load. Then, and this is probably the most critical step, they have to bond the truck to the plane. Why? To get rid of any static electricity. Because with jet fuel, one tiny spark is all it takes for a total catastrophe. From there, it's this constant ballet of connecting hoses, talking with the cockpit, watching gauges, and it all wraps up with a final check with the flight crew. It's really like a perfectly choreographed dance of safety and precision. And to put that all into perspective, this isn't some quick pit stop. Fueling a big, long-haul jetliner, that can take over 45 minutes. Yeah, 45 minutes. And that often involves multiple hoses just to safely pump in tens of thousands of gallons of fuel. So it's not just about getting the amount of fuel right. The quality of that fuel is absolutely non-negotiable. Agents actually do this thing called a clear and bright test. They take a sample of the fuel and literally just look at it. Is it clear? Is it bright? They're looking for any sign of water, which can be a huge problem, or sediment, even, get this, microbial growth. And through it all, they are always ready to hit that emergency shutoff at the very first sign of trouble. But the job isn't just about all that technical stuff. As this quote from our source material points out, there's a completely different kind of pressure that can pop up, and it has nothing to do with hoses or gauges. It has to do with money. Have you ever been stuck on a plane and the captain comes on and announces some vague, unexplained delay? Well, there's a chance it could be this right here, a dispatch hold. It's pretty simple, really. If an airline gets behind on its fuel bill, the supplier can just say, stop. And who's stuck in the middle? The fueling agent on the tarmac, who now has to professionally manage this standoff until someone somewhere sorts out the money. So you have to ask, what kind of person does it take to handle all this pressure? It's about so much more than just being physically strong. We're talking about a really unique mix of technical know-how, serious mental stamina, and maybe most importantly, an almost obsessive attention to detail. Yeah, if you had any idea that this was some kind of simple, entry-level job, you can forget that right now. These agents have to be certified in handling hazardous materials, in spill response, in operating all this heavy equipment, and they need to know the specific, unique fueling protocols for dozens of different types of aircraft. This is a highly specialized, really demanding trade. And then there's the work environment itself, which is just a total test of endurance. Airports never sleep, right? They're 24/7 operations. So these agents are out on the tarmac on holidays, weekends, deep in the middle of the night. And it doesn't matter if it's 100 degrees and blazing hot or freezing cold with snow coming down, They're out there, wrestling these heavy, high-pressure hoses to get the job done. So what's next? Where does a job like this go from here? Well, no surprise. Like pretty much everything else in aviation, it's being shaped by two huge forces: new tech and the big push for sustainability. For one, sustainable aviation fuel, what they call SAF, is becoming way more common. So now agents are having to learn how to handle totally new fuel blends, new storage procedures, and at the same time, you're seeing more automation, more remote sensors being brought in to make things even more accurate, and of course, to reduce risk. But here's the thing you have to remember. This is the key takeaway. Even with all this incredible new tech, the very core of the job, it doesn't change. The safety of every single flight still comes down to the trained eye, the steady hand, and the sharp judgment of a person out there on the tarmac. They are the final, and I mean absolutely indispensable safety check. So seriously, next time you're at the airport, waiting at the gate, just look out the window. You might just catch a glimpse of one of aviation's quietest but most vital professionals at work. And it really leaves you with this question, right? In a world that's racing towards automation, how come the human eye is still the single most valuable sensor out there on the tarmac?